sorry, I haven't uploaded anything in a while. I was busy caught up buying a house. And it was such a task. As much as I consider myself to be tech savvy, I visited all those lovely websites which has listed properties in them. And it was a fish market, trust me, it was. All the properties were listed again and again. Sometimes it had the same broker, other times it had different brokers, and all for the same property. And you know, when I called them, what they told me? Oh, sorry miss, this property is not available anymore, but we can show you something else. And I was like, if this property is not available anymore, why are you advertising it? It was so frustrating and I realized I'm wasting my time. Has this happened to you too? Anyways, I decided to go back to the good old days. I met a couple of local brokers, approached them and told them my requirements. But then I ran into someone who happens to be one of the most interesting person you will meet at a work event. I consider this man to be the smartest broker in the country. Jay, say hi.
Hi, thank you, Dwania. You're too kind.
I was like, please save me from this illusion of digital convenience. And Jay happened to tell me some really interesting tidbits. I was shocked and it was truly an eye-opening experience. So then I suggested, why don't you share your knowledge with us and talk to people online? To which he said,
absolutely, let's do it.
So here we are today, and this segment is going to be called Empowering Brokers with Jay Patel. Jay, it's so nice to have you on board.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
So Jay, tell us something about yourself.
Well, Dwania, as you know, I'm in real estate, and my experience spans over 2 decades. Most of it was all in the U.S., of course. I've done everything from land development to sales, brokerage, rehab flips. I love the industry, and I'm fascinated by the opportunities both U.S., India, and abroad. That's kind of what brings me to India, and we'll talk a little bit more about that.
So Jay, as we all know that 20 years ago, technology wasn't there and the real estate flourished well. But now that technology has come in, there is a new union of technology and real estate. So what do you think has been the impact on your fellow brokers and consumers? What's your take on it?
Well, to quickly understand the impact of technology and real estate, I'll ask you a simple question, and that'll really help you understand, right?
Yes.
What's the last thing you do before you go to bed every night? Or the first thing you do in the morning when you get up in the morning? What is the first thing that you do?
Use my cell phone.
You're absolutely right. And this is not rehearsed. It's absolutely right. And the reason is we all do it. Our phones are attached to our hips. When we go to bed, our phone is sitting next to our head. Everyone is on their phone. What that basically means when you talk about technology in real estate is that if my fellow brokers are not on the phone or don't have a phone presence, they're going to miss out. The new younger generation that's starting out today,
right.
Everybody starts on the phone. When you want to find something, the first thing you do is you go to Google on your phone.
Yeah.
Or you go online, on your desktop. The fact of the matter is that if a broker doesn't have his presence on that phone, if they don't get online, if they don't adapt and evolve, they'll become extinct.
So Jay, how do you think that Indian technology in real estate is any different from technology used overseas?
Wow, it's so different, Dwani. From my experience in the US and in India, it's a dramatic difference, mainly because not just technology, it's other factors too, because in the States you have regulation, you also have structure, right. and because of the regulation structure, you've got a much more organized market. And the technology helps make that possible. In India, we have a lack of that. We don't necessarily have that. The other problem I find that in this country, it's a huge mindset issue. Because what I'm finding is people look out more for themselves. It's what's mine is mine. There's no sharing of data.
Right.
That doesn't exist in the US. In the US, we have this thing called, it's a central database where all the property listings can be found. And from there, people can go in and get what they need, right? So for example, if you want to look for a property, you don't have to visit 10 different websites. You go to one website, it will have all the information on that site. In India, that doesn't exist because they've got this pay-per-listing concept. Pay-per-listing essentially means that if I, as a broker, want to sell my property, I have to go pay a website like a Magic Bricks or 99 Acres or whomever to go ahead and advertise my site for me. That means that Magic Bricks has its own database. 99 Acres has its own database, and they're not the same.
What's your view on paper listing sites?
Oh my goodness. Dwani, I could go on and on about this for days, but in short, I'm very much against it. I feel it's an extremely flawed concept. This pay-per-listing concept doesn't work in the US and any other parts of the world, and I don't believe it will work in India. We have tried it there, and it doesn't work. This is my phone. This phone has a value. This phone might be worth 30,000 rupees, 50,000 rupees. I take this phone and I give it to you, right?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now you've got this phone. That phone has value for you as well,
Right.
correct? Wouldn't you give me something in exchange that would be of equal or like kind consideration? That's a fair transaction. It's a win-win for both because I'm giving you something of value and you're giving me something of value. That doesn't happen in a pay per listing model. What's happening here in India is I've got this thing of value, I give it to you, and then you turn around and you say, Jay, I need money also. So now I have to go into my pocket, pull out money and give that to you also. How is that a fair transaction? What happens from the pay per listings is that it actually encourages the brokers who are using it to upload expired or fake or duplicate listings. And the reason that happens is because these portals are selling packages. So a broker will buy a 30,000 rupee package for 500 listings, and of course he's going to use that because there's no point in wasting it. He doesn't have 500 listings. So what these brokers do is they end up entering the same listings in multiple times. And this is what causes the database to become junk. Like when you call and you find out the property is not available, well, it's not available because the brokers entered a fake listing. That kind of stuff doesn't happen in the US. It shouldn't happen here, and there is a way to fix that. But in order for all of this to work, there's one very important element. And that is the brokers need to understand what is your greatest asset. Once they understand clearly what your greatest asset is, then they'll be able to understand how to take that asset and to leverage it and actually make money from it instead of just giving it away to these portals.
Wow, that was fascinating stuff. We got to know the importance of how technology can be incorporated into the real estate market. And also you were talking about the greatest asset theory. It's quite an interesting concept and I want to know more about it in the next episode. So guys, stay tuned.